car trouble.
Tell us all about your trip.
Oh, hey, I had such an exciting time. You know, I was on a farm, this big farm, and there were two little kids there, and they were really nice, and I was helping them do things, and then suddenly I looked up and I saw Miss Finch.
Hello, Big. Perhaps the dodos weren't perfect for you, but I have managed to find you another lovely bird family.
He doesn't need another family. He has one right here. And we all love him.
But he's a bird. He'd be happier with his own kind.
Well, we're all happy here on Sesame Street. And we've got all kinds. We've got people and cows.
She's right about that.
And we've got
Tell her what else,
We've got Bert and Ernie.
Watch your hair, Big Bird.
And there's dogs. And birds.
That's me.
We've got monsters.
Where monsters? You see
And kids. And there's honkers. Why, we've even got grouches.
Keep us out of this.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have. And you're all happy?
Yes, definitely.
Well, you did go to look for him, so that must mean you care. And he does seem to have a lot of friends. Not feathered, but... All right. Big, from now on, Sesame Street is your home.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Thank you.
Well, I've done it again. Placed another stray bird in a good home. Case dismissed. Back to work.
I wonder where Snuffy is. Would everybody excuse me for a few minutes? But I got something I should do. Excuse me, okay? See ya. Bye, Big. Snuffy. Snuffy?
Oh, bird.
Oh, Snuffy, this time you're real.
Oh, bird. Can I stop watching your things now?
Oh, Snuffy.
Oh, bird.
Home at last.
Well, I hope there's nothing seriously wrong with your car.
Well, I hope not either, but you know I can fix it.
What's going on? What happened to the car?
Don't ask me, ask him.
Our insurance man is never going to fix this.
One more around the block, Bruno.
Sure, boss.
Yeah, I gotta wash off some of this happy stuff. Bruno, come on.
I decided that when television came around, everybody would like to get into television as a puppeteer. And I did. Only 8 years after television began, I had my own puppet show called The Rascal Rabbit Show in Las Vegas, paid $10 a week. And I knew it was just a beginning. I think it was probably a terrible show. I didn't even have a monitor. I couldn't see what I was doing. So eventually I kept doing puppets, and I got, that was in 55. I was in the military, got shipped out, so I lost that show. And in 60, I got back into TV in Boston. Jim Henson, who was scouting for somebody to play Big Bird and Oscar, he saw me doing my show, came backstage and said, "Would you like to join me?" I thought that was sort of like, I knew who Jim Henson was. The Muppets weren't as big by any means at that time, but I saw them a lot at Ed Sullivan and other shows. And so it was though if I was a drummer, some fellow come along and said, "I got a little band from Liverpool. Would you like to be me drummer then?" You know, because to me, if there's a Beatles in the puppet world, it was the Muppets. Jim Henson was very humble himself, very interested in other people, and I never saw him angry. I'd see him upset, but he never reacted against anyone. And one day, in the early days of the show, I wasn't as disciplined as he and Frank Oz were doing, and we were doing the first scenes of Sesame Street. Little scenes where with the Anything Muppets, where they could put different eyes and different wings, make them a little kid or a dragon. And I kept missing the opening note with the lip sync, and I'd miss. They'd say, "So everyone likes ice cream." You know, it's one of my problems with puppetry. And so we were watching playbacks, and the third time I had still done it wrong. I missed that note. And Jim, a lot of people crowded around one of the monitors to watch the playback, and so he saw an empty one over on the other side. He walked over so he could look at that by himself, and he didn't see me walk up behind him. And I heard him quietly say, "Garbage, garbage." And it went like a knife through me. I said, "Oh, God." I said, "Jim, I'm sorry. I'm going to resign. I'm not good enough to be a Muppeteer." And he turned around and turned beat right. He said, "Oh, I wasn't talking about you." He lied. He said, "My work isn't up to snuff today. I didn't think I was doing a very good job. And if you're having trouble with that thing, listen, there's a little tiny bell. If you hear that bell, just open the mouth, and it will be just right." When we started, Jim told me he wanted me to play two characters. One, he described the bird, and the bird initially was going to be just a silly, goofy bird. And the other was Oscar the Grouch. Didn't know what I was going to use for the voice, and it was getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, I have a question.
What is it, Oscar?
What is the capital of South Dakota?
I had to go across town in a cab. So I hailed a cab and got in. The guy says, "Where to, Mac?" And so I said, "Wow, what a great voice." And he had a cigar at one side of his mouth, and a voice came out the other, like this. And I said, "That's perfect." So when I got out of the cab, I kept saying, "Where to, Mac? Where to, Mac?" Because I'm trying to learn to do this voice, and I could imitate that very well. He really sounded a lot like that. I had never tried that. I swear if I hadn't looked at him, seeing him talk out of the corner of his mouth in his rearview mirror, because I'm sitting over there. And so I got Oscar's voice that way.
Goodbye, Oscar.
What? That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
When I do Big Bird, it's a lot of fun, and Oscar is too, because it's a totally different experience. After often doing the bird all day long, I'll know I've got a few more scenes at the end in there with Oscar, and it's almost therapeutic, because I've been sweet and nice all day, and now Oscar can be one of the most negative, cantankerous characters on television, even though he's on a children's show. And so it's a lot of fun. I never played a character like that. I call him my, if you remember Happy Days, and you remember the Fawns, well, Oscar's my Fawns. He's cool.
Hey, you and me, Skinny.
The one great thing about television is that we don't look at the puppet. We're looking down at the monitor while we are manipulating the puppet. Everyone has only one eye. It's the camera's lens. If I turn this way, his mouth looks like he's very sad, and I lower his eyes, and he can look very unhappy. Or if you tip him forward, his mouth goes up. It really does. It's a stiff mouth. It doesn't change. It's like a porpoise. You can't change his expression. Porpoises always look like they're rather pleased. And but by aiming at them at the camera in this way or that, the puppeteer learns to study the expressions and that go along with the emotions that we're portraying.
new water came out of the ground.
One time I got a lovely letter from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Don't you love to say that? And it was from a woman who had a little 4-year-old boy named Christopher. And she heard sniffling. Big Bird was in a scene where he was the only child around. And so he was very, very sorry for himself because all the kids had gone off to school and he was too young. And so she hears Christopher watching the show, and she was busy in the kitchen, and she hears a little sniffling and crying, and she goes, "What's wrong, Christopher?" He said, "Big Bird is just like me. He's all alone all day because the kids, his older brothers and sisters, were off to school." And so he saw himself and actually identified with Big Bird, who was, hardly an ordinary-looking child. The bird became, as I said earlier, Bird was really a goofy guy. And when I decided he should be a child, and the producers thought that was a good idea as well, I started going higher with his voice. It's like, "Hi there,
Hi there, hi there," until I got here and tried to be a kid. Let's see. It says, "Welcome to Toadstool, the Mushroom City." The Mushroom City? Annual Tournament of Mushrooms Parade.
It was really fun to sit in a theater and hear the children react to the movie I had made, I must say. And one of the scenes, Big Bird gets kidnapped by some unscrupulous carnival guys, and they paint him blue. And when it affected children more than I knew when we filmed it, that the whole theater was hearing because they were all crying.